Good evening and welcome to our May 12th, 2015 Ogden City Redevelopment Agency meeting. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present with the exceptions of Board Member Blair, who is asked to be excused tonight. We will turn the time to Vice Chair White for our Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and if you would now join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, first thing on our agenda tonight is the reports from the administration concerning fiscal year 2016 proposed budget for the redevelopment agency. And
Chair, that will be done by Camille Cook.
thank you.
Council
Welcome.
Chair, thank you. Council Chair, Vice Chair, and council members, it's an honor to be here tonight to present the redevelopment agency budget to you. The RDA budget has an increase of $1.6 million over the fiscal year 2015 budget. The fiscal year 2016 Mayor CAO recommended budget is $20,367,025. That's an increase of $1,623,525 over last year, or an 8.66% increase. The majority of this increase is related to the slight increases in expected increment revenue and the transfers between funds for housing and administrative costs. Administration has budgeted those transfers at a higher level than we have in the past, trying to maximize both the funds that can be used for housing and the administrative revenue to Ogden City. These transfers are still budgeted in accordance with the area agreements and allowable district expenses. Some highlights that are included in the budget that you might be interested in. The RDA currently has 22 active areas. There's a new housing fund proposed for fiscal year 2016 to make the housing funds more transparent. The BDO district revenue continues to grow. In fiscal year 2016, we're expecting increment of $5.3 million, which is all committed to infrastructure in the BDO area. All debt payments are included in the annual budget. Increment and other district revenue are expected to cover all debt obligations for fiscal year 2016, including the CBD mall area debt and the River to BDO area payment of $200,000. The budget will be posted on the city website tomorrow, May 13th by 10 a.m. And the line item revenue and expense budgets were included in one document with the Ogden City budget. So those are already on the website. They were posted May 6th. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Cook?
Covered it well.
Great.
Thank you.
you.
Okay.
I will make a motion that we set the public hearing for June 2nd, 2015 for the proposed budget.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Garner, seconded by Board Member Gochner to set the public hearing for June 2nd. And this is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, be so set. The next item is for participation and incentive agreement, project engineering consultants.
Mr. Cooper, with his
Welcome,
white
Mr.
shirt
Cooper.
on.
Chair Heyer, members of the board, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. For your consideration is the resolution approving a participation and an incentive agreement for Project Engineering Consultants. PEC is the name they go by. PEC is an engineering firm currently located in West Jordan. They are interested in expanding a satellite operation in Ogden, and they have chosen the somewhat vacant building at 2326 Washington. It's formerly known as the Hardware Building. It's where currently the rec outlet is located. This building is part of the East Washington Urban Renewal Area, which was adopted in 2010. The objectives of the East Washington URA were set during the time of adoption to accomplish the increase of base tax in the city, as well as dealing with some of the vacant buildings that were both commercially and residentially along that area of Washington from about to Adams from 22nd to 20th. And so it's very beneficial for us that PEC is interested in looking to locate at one of the vacant buildings. Again, the Hardware Building has 4 floors. Currently, the first floor is occupied, and PEC is looking to go into the to the 3rd floor to occupy about 3,000 square feet. The incentive agreement is fairly straightforward. They are seeking $30,000 of tax increment funding to offset some of the expenses that come with the expansion. This would include the build-out, moving expenses, those types of things. There are certain conditions that PEC will need to meet prior to getting the incentive. One would be to perform the actual construction either by themselves or through the building owner, who is PC Thomas Investments. So they would have to actually construct the improvements. They would also then need to occupy the space no later than May 31st, and then they would need to remain in occupancy during the base term of their lease, which is 3 years. And those are the conditions in which they would need to meet to receive the incentive. The incentive is for $30,000 paid to them no later than June 30th of this year. That would come from the RDA budget. In the East Washington Fund, there is sufficient amounts of money to pay the incentive up front. There is a provision that was included in the agreement that you might not be aware of. I'll bring it to your attention now, and that is a reversionary clause that would basically cause PEC to repay a prorated amount of the $30,000 incentive if they were to vacate their 3-year lease early. And that's prorated or calculated at a daily rate. And so if they were to vacate early and not fulfill the term of their lease, then they would be required to pay the agency back a prorated amount of money. So essentially that is the terms of the agreement, and we recommend approval of the resolution. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Cooper?
Yes, I have one question. Do you have an idea on the breakdown of how much of that is for building improvements versus moving expenses?
I don't. They calculated it. What I was looking for is whether or not their investment into the building via the expansion was sufficient to justify the incentive. We generally spoke about what the incentive is used for in terms of the allocation. I do know that generally they're looking at covering the costs of moving plus subsidizing some of the tenant improvements. I do know that the landlord gave a tenant allowance, which is typical in these types of situations, and the improvements that they were looking to build exceeded that allowance, and therefore some of that incentive was to go towards that.
Can you review the parking condition in that area, whether we as a city have a responsibility for that or not?
The parking behind all of those buildings on the east side of Washington largely is owned by the owners of this building, PC Thomas Investments. So it's at their discretion as to who parks back there. Currently, there's an agreement that allows some shared parking. Fortunately, PEC is not a heavy parking user. I believe that their goal is to expand to about 12 employees over the 3-year term that they would be here. And they don't have a lot of traffic that comes to their doorstep. So they've worked out the parking that they need with the Thomas family who owns the building, and it's sufficient for their needs. But the city is not intended, is not obligated to provide any additional parking. I'm sorry.
Will their lease start June 1st?
Mm-hmm. Correct. So I believe that the lease is June 1st of 2015 to May 31st of 2018.
Is it anticipated that that they will remain longer than their 3-year lease term, or?
They do have extension provisions in the lease that allow them to extend for 2 additional 3-year terms. I believe that it would be, it's their interest to come to Ogden and succeed, so I would imagine that they would want to do that, which is why they put that provision in the lease.
Sure.
And definitely it would be our.
It's not just a 3-year project they're here for and then they're out.
Right. They see Ogden as a growing market, and they want to be competitive in terms of the services that they provide to the construction industry, and so they feel that having a satellite location here is in their best interest. And it checks all of our boxes in terms of locating high wage earners and those types of professionals in our downtown area.
Thank you.
Great.
Will they be the catalyst to attract other businesses into this area, or are they the sole occupant here then?
No, we believe so. Again, when we create redevelopment districts, we look at objectives that accomplish certain things, and one of those things is always to be a catalyst for other things. I believe that our job is to spur the market, but then to back away and allow the market to work itself out. And some occasions like this, there is a need to spur, but we definitely hope that by doing so, it's going to attract other businesses. In fact, in this case specifically, there has been another company that's located in the same building as a direct result of PEC's choice to go there as well. So we're already seeing some of that synergy, and as we continue to fill these vacant buildings and do our good work, we're seeing a lot of success.
More questions for Mr. Cooper? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
With that, I propose that we adopt Resolution 2015-7.
Second.
Have a motion by Vice Chair White, second by Board Member Garner, to adopt the Resolution 2015-7. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Garner.
Aye.
Board Member Gochner.
Aye.
Board Member Stevens.
Aye.
Board Member Wicks.
Aye.
Vice Chair White.
Aye.
Chair Heyer.
Aye. That passes. Okay, the next item is public comment. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or ideas for the Ogden Redevelopment Agency. Please state your name and address clearly for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no movement, comments from the RDA Executive Director
Nothing at this time, thank you.
and board members.
Just want to commend Brandon Cooper and all of his team for really trying to attract, the type of businesses we want in the downtown area to help promote growth, and as we all know, that'll be a catalyst for other developers to come in and look at it too. So thank you.
I would just hope that we would come to the point where we can not have to offer incentives all the time for people to come here, because that competes with existing businesses, level playing field. So.
Okay, any more comments? All
If
right,
there are no more, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
a motion by Board Member Gochner, second by Board Member Garner to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, just as a reminder, there will be a special Municipal Building Authority meeting directly after this one, followed by a redevelopment redevelopment.
City Council.
City Council, special City Council meeting, followed by a work session.